Picture this. You're winding down after a long, tiring day. Maybe you're in the living room, flipping channels on the TV, or you're in the kitchen finishing up the dishes. Outside, the sun's just dipped below the horizon, and there's that stillness in the air. It's the kind of peace we sometimes take for granted until it's suddenly broken. I know that feeling far too well because a few months ago, someone tried to break into my home. This was a moment that made my heart race like never before. You might be thinking, that kind of thing doesn't happen in my neighborhood, or it only happens in movies. But trust me, I used to think the same way. Well, reality doesn't care about zip codes or assumptions. And on that evening, I learned the hard way that having a reliable self-defense tool can make all the difference. I live in what most people would call a nice neighborhood tree-lined streets. Folks who greet each other when walking the dog, and kids riding bikes. Nothing about it screams trouble. But over the course of a few weeks, strange incidents started cropping up. A package disappeared off a neighbor's porch, someone else reported suspicious footprints by their backyard window, and a few doors down, a woman said she heard tampering noises late at night. At first, I shrugged it off. Maybe the missing package was a delivery error. Maybe the footprints belonged to a raccoon. But then, a formal neighborhood watch email circulated, warning everyone to stay alert. More than a few of us started thinking about how to protect our homes and loved ones. And so began my crash course in self-defense gadgets. Now, I'm not a martial arts expert. I wanted something that was simple and didn't require specialized training. I read about tasers, pepper sprays disguised as lipsticks, personal alarms, you name it. But I kept coming back to the same notion. Sometimes the most straightforward tool is the best one. After all, a baseball bat is something almost anyone can handle. And if it's built well, it can really pack a punch, no pun intended. That's when I stumbled upon the Cold Steel Brooklyn Smasher. The brand name alone caught my attention. Sounds intense, right? Cold Steel is known for making heavy-duty tools, and the Brooklyn Smasher is no exception. Unlike a typical wooden bat, this one's made from high-grade polypropylene, which basically means it's nearly indestructible. What does nearly indestructible even mean? Well, let's say you swing this bat at a hard surface, like a thick wooden post or a concrete wall. Where a regular bat might crack, splinter, or snap in half, the Brooklyn Smasher holds its shape and remains intact. It's lightweight enough that I can maneuver it without feeling like I'm waving around a lead pipe, yet it's heavy enough to deliver serious stopping power. I spent an entire evening reading reviews from people who used it for everything from baseball practice to home defense. Some folks mentioned it's a great bat to keep in the trunk of your car for emergencies, though always be aware of your local laws. Others told stories about scaring off trespassers just by brandishing the thing. There was a consistent theme. This bat means business. I never really pictured myself as someone who'd keep a baseball bat by the bedroom door, but fear changes your perspective. It wasn't that I wanted to do harm. I just wanted that sense of security. And let's be honest, we all hope we never have to use our self-defense tools. But if that moment arises, you don't want to be caught empty-handed. It was a Thursday night, a day like any other. I'd made dinner, watched a bit of a late-night show, and was just about to turn in. I remember checking the locks on the front door, something I always do automatically. I was heading to the bedroom when I heard a noise at the back of the house. It wasn't thunder or a passing car. It was distinct, like metal scraping against wood. My heart did that thing where it feels like it drops into your stomach. Every sense went on high alert. I froze for a second, listening intently. Then there it was again, a faint, scratching sound. Suddenly, my mind was racing. Is someone trying to break in? I turned off the hallway light, hoping to stay as inconspicuous as possible. Quietly, I reached for my phone and dialed 911. Adrenaline was surging through me. My voice shook as I whispered to the dispatcher what I heard. They told me the police would be on their way. Now, waiting feels like an eternity in situations like that. A minute stretches out. Your brain conjures up all sorts of worst-case scenarios. My immediate thought was, I'm not waiting helplessly. That's when I remembered the cold steel Brooklyn smasher leaning against the corner of my bedroom door. Clutching that bat gave me an instant surge of confidence, even though my heart was pounding. I moved as quietly as I could toward the back of the house, staying close to the wall. There was a small window in the door, just big enough to peek through, though it was too dark to see much. Suddenly, the doorknob rattled. The intruder was definitely there, trying to figure out a way inside. My mind was screaming, "This can't be real." But it was real, and I was in the middle of it. I flipped on a nearby light, hoping the sudden brightness might startle whoever was out there. And sure enough, through the glass, I caught sight of a figure hood pulled up, hunched close to the door, apparently fumbling with some kind of tool. When that light came on, they looked up and locked eyes with me. For a split second, we both froze. My heart felt like it was going to burst out of my chest, but I tightened my grip on the bat. I raised it just high enough to make it clear. "I see you. I'm not unprotected." The intruder stumbled backward, losing grip on whatever tool they had. I didn't chase them. Never a wise move to chase an unknown intruder. But I made it extremely clear that I was ready to defend myself. What happened next is exactly what any homeowner hopes for in that scenario. The would-be burglar bolted. They spun around and dashed off into the shadows of the backyard, hopped the fence, and were gone. My legs were shaking, my mouth was dry, but I didn't feel helpless. A minute or so later, the police arrived. They did a quick sweep of the yard and the surrounding area. Unfortunately, the intruder had vanished by that point, but they found definite signs of forced entry scratches near the lock and a bent piece of metal on the ground that might have been a crowbar or a pry bar. The officers took my statement, asked me if I was okay, and made some recommendations to tighten security. They also asked about the bat. One of them actually recognized it and said, "You've got yourself one heck of a deterrent there." It was a small moment of levity in an otherwise terrifying ordeal, and I was just grateful no one was hurt. Now, before you rush out to buy a Brooklyn smasher or any self-defense tool, I want to emphasize something: responsibility. Owning a self-defense tool, whether it's a pepper spray, a stun gun, or a heavy-duty bat, comes with accountability. Know your local laws. Understand the concept of reasonable force. If your region has specific regulations about carrying or using such items, abide by them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more of these kinds of videos. Thanks for watching.